My name is Wandile, and thank you for that introduction. So I'm going to be brief, I'm going to be clear, and I'm going to be concise, because I know I'm standing between you and traffic today. So bear with me. Can I use the clicker? Cool. Okay, perfect. So my name's Wandile. I'm from Afrika, Tikkun. So I do donor relations, PR, and marketing there. So I'm going to be talking to you about marketing. So I think the first thing people think about when it comes to marketing is billboard, TV, print, and to be quite honest with you, with NGO budgets, we can't afford that. You'll literally blow your budget in 1 week. So we need to look at alternative options of how we can be, I'll call it intelligent touch points in terms of marketing. So I'll be taking you through all of those aspects today. That's a disclaimer from the South African Accounting Academy. So in terms of the content that I'm going to cover, so how do we leverage your brand and implement a cost-effective marketing and communication strategy? So the first thing that we need to do is really to unpack the brand. So I'm unpacking the brand from an Afrika Tikkun point of view. So the first thing is, what is the problem statement? So for us, it's solving the problem of youth unemployment. 2 is then you go internally to say, what is Afrika Tikkun? So currently, we've got 17,000 beneficiaries between the ages of 2 to 35 Secondly, we've got 6 centers across 6 townships that actually look after these 17,000 beneficiaries, and we've created 600 jobs within these 6 communities that ultimately look after these 17,000 beneficiaries. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, what are we delivering? So we are delivering a cradle to career model, which ultimately takes kids from early infancy into young adulthood and into the world of work. So that's what we do at our centers. We also have employee engagement or volunteering initiatives as well, where corporates can actually become hands-on in terms of the development of these 2 to 35-year-olds that we service. And ultimately, what is the end result? So for us, it's creating productive citizens that are able to be part of mainstream economic activity. The importance of unpacking your brand is, especially around for the fundraisers, is you need to make sure that you've got your key messages in place and everybody's literally singing from the same hymn sheet, basically. And ultimately, that's why this is very important. And it ultimately crystallizes what your brand does and what your brand represents, and ultimately the problem that you're trying to solve within the social space. So that's the first element. The second is, how do you ensure your marketing and media activities are ongoing and consistent? So for me, I think the first thing is supply partnerships. I think there's 3 key important partners that you need. I think the one is a creative designer. Why? Because we need to have a consistent brand look at all touch points. And you need somebody who's going to bring in a little bit of flair and creativity to what the brand currently looks. So that for me is the first person that you need. The second is public relations. Why? Because you need to put together some thought leadership articles. You know, you need to be seen as experts within your particular field, and PR is usually the best or the best medium to actually do that with. And then the third is digital. And I mean, your website, social media, that's the trend right now. I think people are just fascinated by just scrolling through their iPads and their iPhones, etc. So if you've got worthwhile content, then that is then the good platform for you to actually utilize. The second component is you need a year-long plan. And ultimately, what you need to do is, after you've unpacked your brand and identified these suppliers, is to then sit and have a briefing session to say, guys, these are the key objectives that we're trying to establish. We've got things like Mandela Day that is coming up. What are we going to do? We've got this, we've got that. And ultimately, the creative designer will look at the look and feel around that. PR will look at, how do we get into radio, how do we get into TV, how do we get into various publications. And thirdly, digital will look at the post, or what we call post-event, in terms of that activity, or on the actual day in itself, how do we then create that buzz and actually share what we've done. So, and then the last point is monthly supply status. Well, because you need to make sure that everybody, there's synergy within the team. And for me, that's how you actually